about the two-wheeler counters, no doubt there's Hero MotoCorp that is actually moving on back of a particular brokerage note also. But the retail picture or retail sales picture is not looking that great, at least for data that they're getting for the month of Feb or so, right?
Well, yes, exactly. Rightly said, Cheryl. Actually, Morgan Stanley as well as CLSA both have come out with a note on the two-wheeler counters. First of all, CLSA is highlighting that the first 19 days of the February month, they are not that great data suggesting for the two-wheeler counters, where they do see that the growth is seen to be on the slower side for the two-wheeler counters. CLSA is seeing that the retail volume is likely to grow mid-single digit on a YY basis in the month of February 2024. They do highlight that the electric two-wheeler volumes could remain largely flat on a YY basis, but in terms of the players involved, then Hero MotoCorp as well as Royal Enfield retail volumes could likely decline in this particular month, while on the flip side, TVS and Honda should witness double-digit growth in terms of the volumes. While for Bajaj Auto, they are penciling in that the company is gaining a market share in 125cc plus segment. So those were the highlights coming in from CLSA's note. But Morgan Stanley has also come out with a note on Hero MotoCorp. Just yesterday, they did come out with a note in the second half of the trading session or so, and the stock was also down about 4%. What they are highlighting is that they believe that the share price could likely fall in the next 30 days, and the fall could be more relative to the benchmark indices. They do highlight that as per them, there's a limited valuation support and earnings are at risk, and they do maintain their underweight rating with the target price of 3,638 rupees, which is almost 1,000 rupees lower than the current market price. And on the back of that, even today, we are seeing Hero MotoCorp down about 1.3%.
All right, thank you so much for that, Shrishti, actually, for outlining what exactly is happening in the two-wheeler space. And we have our experts today, Kush Bora, as well as we have Sharmila Joshi joining us on the show. Very good morning to you, Kush, as well as Sharmila. Thank you so much for joining us on ET9. Sharmila, you have CLSA that's come out with a note. In fact, you have Morgan Stanley also that's come out with a note. While CLSA is definitely mentioning that the Vahan retail numbers have indicated a slow growth for the month of February when it comes to these two-wheeler players, and the retail volumes is likely to grow in mid-single digit when you compare it on a year-on-year basis. What's your take coming in for the two-wheeler space? Do you still believe that the domestic demand will be strong for these counters going ahead, or for these companies going ahead?
So, I think clearly what we've seen is that the premium segment is what has really driven the numbers in the two-wheeler space. And over a period of time, first it was really only Eicher, which had a premium product. Then, you had Bajaj Auto, which launched two premium products. And then, we had both TVS as well as Hero Motor having their own sort of tie-ups. And so, the whole premium space has been very active. And that is what has really driven the numbers. Because, as is apparent, not just from two-wheeler numbers, but I think a whole host of FMCG, the volume growth has slowed down because the rural demand has not been there. And, rural demand is very important for two-wheelers as a sector. Having said all that, as you said, that I do think that domestic demand will improve as we go ahead. And, the fallout of everything positive that we are seeing in the economy will definitely start showing up, and we will see a pickup in domestic volumes. And I think the export markets will also recover. And export markets are important for Bajaj Auto. So I think net, I'm positive on the two-wheeler space in terms of the kind of volume growth that they're likely to show. The concern is, of course, the valuations, because those have gone up significantly.
All right, so that's the take coming in on all the two-wheeler counters on the fundamental side. But Kush, what about the technical take on these two-wheeler counters? Any stock? Because all these counters have seen a phenomenal run-up. Any stock that you still like at this point in time, and will you be a buyer at these levels or wait for some more correction?
Hi, Srishti. First up, a very good morning once again. So Hero MotoCorp obviously was one of the last, stocks to join the party, and it had also seen, quite a sharp run up. So I think some profit booking, some cooling off was, obviously warranted. I won't be surprised to see the stock move to 4,300 levels, where the 50-day moving average lies, and there's a strong, a demand zone that sort of comes in there. But the two stocks that I am more focused on are TVS Motor and Bajaj Auto. Now, these two had a much better run. The run started a lot earlier, but if you switch to the weekly setup on both of them, there's a concept of RSI divergence, which suggests that the stocks actually made a high, but the strength was quite missing. This time around. So TVS Motor had seen that pattern very clearly, even Bajaj Auto to some extent. And let's not forget Bajaj Auto, despite some sort of cooling off that we are seeing, is still in very heavy overbought territories. Now that is not to suggest that the rally is over and one should completely exit these stocks. Perhaps a Hero Moto, but as far as TVS Motors and Bajaj Auto go, for me they are still on a buy on dips kind of a mode. So for something like a TVS Motor, 2000 or 2500, 2050 rather, is a good number. If the stock does come to about those levels, it will be a good entry point. Bajaj Auto too, it might need a slightly deeper correction, but if we see this close to 7900 thereabouts, then it's a good time to enter. So for me, TVS Motors and Bajaj Auto are a buy on dips. Hero is perhaps one stock that you can book profit and exit.
TVS, Bajaj Auto, buy on dips, and Hero Motor, you can actually stay on the sidelines when it comes to that particular counter. That's a take coming in from Kush as well as Sharmila on the two-wheeler space. On that note, we